Okay, all right. You ready to be counted down? Here we go. Three, two, one, record.
All right, so you go on the Tumblr today because today's Father's Day. Even though this episode will probably be posted like 3 weeks from now, so there's that whole like time dilation thing going on. But you go on to Tumblr today because it's Father's Day. Is the 18th of June, and you type in Father's Day into the hashtag or into the search bar, and you just see all these fucking impetulant fucking children bitching about like, my dad's such a misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic asshole. He made me uninstall the Tumblr app because I spent 19 fucking hours on it. As if that's totally healthy. And I'm just sitting here like, my dad's fucking awesome. I have one picture of my dad. I only have one picture of my dad, and that shows you how like old I am and how old my dad is. Because it's one picture that was taken with a 35 millimeter camera, i.e., not digital, and it's a picture of him with his dogs with a massive fucking chainsaw, and there's like a huge tree that's felled behind him. And it's just like, that's how I remember. If my dad, because I think I told you before about bullshit. My dad recently had kind of a battle with leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For people who don't know, for the past year, my dad's been combating. He's had a bout of leukemia, and it's actually because he's been really diligent on his treatments and stuff. So now he's pretty much in remission, which is fucking awesome. But yeah, it's just like, so like if my dad were just to fucking pass away, my memory of my dad would just be this fucking badass with a chainsaw. And okay, not to immediately bring a somber note to this episode, but when my dad goes into treatment, he goes to the very same hospital that they treat other people with leukemia, and he says he told me that he's like, when I go in there, I'm the oldest person there. Like the second oldest person is like 19. And my dad
Wow.
is in his 70s.
Wow.
And he's just like, if you need any proof that the universe just fucking sucks and life is unfair, is the fact that he's got the easy leukemia, and all these kids just have the really horrible fucking leukemia. He's like, and my dad's not an atheist. He's more of an agnostic than anything. But he's like, if God exists, then he's a real piece of shit, because God gave my dad the easy leukemia, but he gives all these kids the really horrible fucking chemotherapy, going bald and
The shit
just
that takes forever to get through, if you get through.
Yeah, it's like, if God exists, he's a fucking piece of shit. He's a fucking asshole. That's what my dad say. I kind of like that. His whole experience in getting treatment for his leukemia, just if anything, it's told him that God's a real piece of shit because of that. Because it's like, God damn it, it's like, if anybody should get like the really bad, like deadly leukemia, it should be my dad, and only because my dad's like fucking 72 years old, and it's like, well. Yeah, I have this really shitty leukemia, but I've lived an entire life. So if I die, it sucks, but at least I had a full life. It's like these kids, they're like anywhere between like 8 years old and like 19 years old, and they haven't even lived life yet, and they're already having to deal with all this fucking bullshit.
They just got out of high school, if they've even been able to go to school.
Oh no! Well, and it's like, because of all that, it's like now, like my dad goes into treatment, he just like he'll just like swing by like Toys R Us or Walmart or Best Buy, and whichever kid he's nearby, he'll just like give him a toy or a video game that they can play, because it's just like That shit fucking. I mean, when you're like 19 years old and you're having to go through chemotherapy, that just. I've never had it myself, but I just know that shit fucking
That just
sucks. It's
sounds
fucking
bad.
painful, and and it's both boring and painful,
Yeah.
and that's really fucking terrible. But it's like my dad. He like goes in and he tries to do what he can. You know, I I don't know what was the point of me telling that. I was just sort of riffing, but it's just like, yeah. I guess you could just say, count your fucking whatever good things. Count your blessings. Count your blessings, I
Maybe
should
your
say.
dad made you get off of Tumblr for a reason.
Yeah, maybe I will admit, dads tend to be pretty old fashioned. That's very true. Dads do tend to be old fashioned, but um they have life experience. They know they've been through a lot of shit, and you may not and I can definitely attest to this because I was a shitty little kid. I used to be a communist. I used to I fully bought into Trotsky's bullshit when I was a kid. And eventually I grew up. I matured as an adult. Unfortunately, Trotsky never did. But yeah, I eventually matured and got more grounding, a more grounded worldview, and I look back and I'm like, yeah, some of the shit my dad said was right. Maybe the communists were fucking wrong. You know, as if that's the most obvious thing. Okay, so I know we don't get into politics on this podcast, but I do want to make a couple observations. If you will allow me in bullshit.
Go right ahead.
Okay, well, a lot of YouTubers and Twitter people I follow, they've been like, "Oh, finally, now they finally do it," and I'm just like, "Okay, good. They're finally doing this right now." The Anti-Defamation League here in the United States has finally started looking into and doing research on extremist left-wing movements, namely Antifa. And I'm just like, good. I am glad that they are starting to look into this because, regardless of your politics, whether you are for the current politics or against them, I'm not gonna label any kind of specifics, but whether you're for or against, I can hardly say that the anti-fascist, aka Antifa movement is detrimental to all sides. And I'm just glad that right now the Anti-Defamation League is currently doing research, is looking into the actions of this group and are placing a watch on this group as a possible extremist group in the United States. Because, well, with things that are going on, I think it's just better that we just label things for what they are.
Now, speaking of extremist movements, and this will segue into our first topic for tonight, which is yours. I just saw all of the trailers for Far Cry 5. Every single trailer for Far Cry 5. I just watched all of them.
Okay, I haven't even seen all the trailers yet. But go ahead. I think I'll be able to catch up pretty quick.
There won't be any spoilers here. The one in particular I want to talk about is the trailer for... they have a series of trailers called the Resistance trailers, which are just character trailers for all of the major NPCs that you'll be doing business with or you can have in your party.
Yes.
And one of them is just labeled The Pastor. His name is Jeremy. But the trailer's called the Resistance, The Pastor. And it's this phenomenal trailer of this... this pastor who's sitting in a church that's been blown out, reading from the Bible and quoting a particular verse, though he's not actually quoting. He is paraphrasing I would like to point that out. But it is a direct enough paraphrasing that it's not far from the original intent of the passage. About woe be to the person who leads my flock astray. And it's he's talking about the cult leader that is the main villain of the game, leading people away from his church and into this fanatical cult. And then at the very end, as he's talking and reading from the Bible, the camera pans around his head and he's just got a revolver in the Bible.
Well,
and he takes it out and he picks up a gun, he puts on a vest and says the end of his quote as he walks towards the camera with guns.
And I will totally I totally believe and I totally imagine that this priest is a protagonist, because it sounds like this priest, because again, Far Cry 5 takes place in Hope County, Montana.
He is not. I believe he is actually a quest giver and a party member.
Yeah.
Because the Resistance trailers are people that you can have in your party or people who give quests.
Yeah, and I just want to say I really do hope that the Ubisoft team, that the development team actually spent some time in Montana, because the thing you'll realize, you've been in Montana yourself in
many times.
Yes, and I've been there many. In fact, I could say I've spent more time in Montana than I spent at home, being a truck driver and all. And the thing you realize about Montanans is that they are very centrist, aka libertarian. They kind of stray in the middle. But the thing is, they are very loyal to the people around them, to their friends and to their family. And so when an external force comes in and tries to push them around and tell actually, when you think about it, it's a very standard American thing of being very loyal to your friends, your family, your town, if you want to expand upon it, your county and your states. There's that independent streak, and I just hope that Ubisoft does that justice.
Well, actually, there is one trailer. There's someone. Ubisoft US actually has a playlist of trailers. Unfortunately, all of their trailers are censored for some odd reason. Despite this being trailers for a M-rated game, they have bleeped out all of the swear words, but they haven't done it in a way that's actually funny. They've done it in a really irritating way, which is unfortunate. But they actually have a whole playlist of all the trailers, and one of them is a half-trailer, half-interview with, I think, the lead designer. And he was actually talking in the interview about how his team had actually traveled to Montana to do research.
Okay, that's very good, because and this is me speaking more towards our listeners in other countries, that America is one the United States of America is one country, but I can easily tell you that even though you will find McDonald's and Walmart and Target everywhere, that people from South Dakota are very different from people from California. Likewise, people from Montana are very different from people in other areas. So if you're gonna if you're gonna make a game set in the United States, you need to be very specific on where it is, because Atlanta, even within states, like Atlanta, Georgia is very different from fucking Athens, Georgia. Austin, Texas is vastly different from Dallas, Texas. Fucking Fremont, California is totally different from Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
there tends to be like and it's the same thing in other countries. Like if you go to Germany, like Bavaria is totally different from Hamburg, and Berlin is totally different from everywhere else, and it's the same in France. Paris is different from rural France, and the same in the UK. It's just when you're in any country, you gotta make sure that you focus in on one area, and you know, in the past few years, with Gamergate and all this shit, we've had like numerous attacks on video games in regards to diversity and all this shit, and I do see some merit to it because and this. What I'm saying right now might be blasphemous for a few people, but just hear me out. And let me just say, maybe people from Iraq are different from people from Saudi Arabia.
Maybe.
Maybe people from Dubai are different from people from Abu Dhabi. Maybe people from Syria are different from people from Lebanon. We do pay a lot of attention, and I just earlier in this podcast, I said I really hope that these people from Ubisoft did travel to Montana to understand how Montanans think and function. And I will say, I think it would be a benefit to video games in general, if they, especially like games like Call of Duty and stuff. Though Call of Duty is going back to World War II, which I think is fucking excellent. I will say the Call of Duty World War II trailers look fucking excellent. I'm totally hyped for that. But yeah, it's like if you want to do a modern military shooter set in the Middle East, maybe you want to specify where that is, because I'm still friends. I'm still friends with Ahmed's. The dude from the Brony fandom and stuff, right? Ahmed.
Yeah.
He
went by .ahmeds on Tumblr.
Yeah, and that dude's from Bahrain, and Bahrain is a unique country and culture. Yeah, and he's really chill, and Bahrain is a pretty for an Islamic religious country. It's a pretty good country, and and it's just while I think that the whole like trying to count or trying to analyze the skin tone of people, of characters in video games, and this game isn't diverse enough, blah blah blah. I do think that's bullshit, but on the other hand, I also think if you're gonna set your country, your game in a quote generic third world country, then you need to be very specific, because even though they are third world countries, they do have their own unique cultures and traditions and societies, and you need to be very specific. It's like if you're gonna make a game set in Africa, it's like, okay, cool, it's a game set in Africa. Where in Africa? Is it in Zaire? Is it in South Africa? Is it in Botswana? Is it in Kenya? Because those are all very unique countries, and if anything, that whole line of thinking and that whole line of critique will actually make video games better. I think. I honestly believe that. And
well, I think doing the same goes for like a film or anything. Doing research on the locale in which you're going to set your work of fiction, whatever kind of work it is, I think is important.
Yeah, if anything, it'll make your game better, because I'll be honest, like, the generic, like, oh, kill all the brown people, that's fun for a while, but and that'll get you some quick cash. But if you want your game to be like remembered and thought of fondly, It's like okay, instead of just killing generic brown people, we're this game is set in 1987 and we're in the country of Chad. And this is the Toyota War where where it became known that hey, you can put an anti-tank gun in the bed of a Toyota pickup, and it be a okay, real history here. The Toyota War is a real war, and it was named so because the military of the country of Chad got the brilliant idea of, hey, let's put an anti-tank gun in the pickup truck in the bed of this Toyota pickup truck, and put it out on the battlefield. And that's basically how the technical was created. And you know what? If you make a game based on the Toyota War, please mention us, because you totally got that idea from us. Yeah, it's like it'll only be to your benefit to just put a little bit of research into the game you're developing. I mean, you don't have to pander to the quote social justice warriors, and you don't have to pander to the quote anti-social justice warriors, by having, okay, we have 70% brown people. I hope we're diverse enough. Don't, because that's just bullshit. Don't fucking do that. Just if you want to see your country, if you want to see your game in a particular part of the world, just make sure you do your research of that particular part of the world.
And I think in this case, in the case of Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 5 rather, it's clear that they've at least made an attempt with that. Of course, the game's not out yet, so we don't know, for sure. But that said, I think Ars Technica said it the best here. Far Cry 5 takes the series to the deadliest land of all, disenfranchised America. That was a headline I laughed at this morning. I will be honest.
I will say it's a secret. It's a secret pleasure of mine. One of the things I love to do is look at like YouTubers from other countries or TV shows from other countries when they visit America, and just see how they view America. Like, there was this one vlogger. He's a really popular vlogger in France, and he visited the United States. And he does, even though he's from France, he does all his vlogs in the English language, just because the English language is sort of like the standard language of YouTube. So it's like, if you want to get a ton of views, you either speak in English or you speak in Spanish. Which so he speaks in English, and he did a vlog because he finally went to America, and the first time he goes to a Taco Bell is fucking incredible. It's like, all this food and it's so cheap. And that's the thing that most people like who visit America, just they don't care. It's like the taste is fine, and the kind of food, like the theme of the food is fine. It's like, okay, this is Mexican food, or this is hamburgers, or this is barbecue. The theme is fine, the taste is fine. It's just the quantity. It
What's this guy's name? I'm gonna look him up now.
Oh shit! Let me go find him. Actually, I think he might be British. Let me go hunt him down, because it's like I watched his video a while ago.
Yeah,
so.
hunt him down later and send him a link to me, because that'd be hilarious. I do want to see that. I love seeing stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like there's another video of like these two gay British dudes, and they go into a Walmart. And they're like, they go into a Walmart at like 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, I can buy a shotgun and a party platter in the very same location.
Oh, I remember that one.
It's like, this is fucking unbelievable. They're just so blown away that you can get a party platter and a shotgun in the same store. Oh yeah, and yeah, the one thing that most vloggers from other countries are just blown away by is the gun carousel in Walmart. Yeah, for people who don't know, in Walmart, if you go back to the sporting goods, which is where all the guns are, there's a literal carousel that you can spin around and look at all the guns. Sorry, I got rice in my throat. I'm sorry about that. So, did you want to talk for a while? Because I've talked for a while.
Well, I mean, it was your topic. You wanted to talk about E3. I don't have a whole lot to say about E3 because
Okay, well, I can go off a little bit more on E3.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say was that Far Cry 5 looks phenomenal. But I know you actually watched a lot of stuff from E3, so.
Yeah, I did. Let me think. The shit that I really liked was well, I guess I'll kick it off with the most obvious thing. The Nintendo E3 Direct, which they weren't actually at E3. They just said Nintendo Direct. I'm really excited for the new Yoshi game, which it looks like it's co-op, and I've always been a big fan of the Yoshi games, like going all the way back to Yoshi's, to the Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I've always had a lot of fun playing as Yoshi. And this new one has a very Little Big Planet feel, where it's like you kind of, it looks like you're kind of like a little stuffed toy Yoshi playing in a big world with like big toys and stuff. And that's something that Nintendo's always been really good at doing is sort of like replicating the feel of just like being in like a big toy like a
big toy
like
store.
a toy. Yeah, like a toy store or a toy box, And the plus side for this is that it's also co-op. It looks like there's some parts where, and I do hope that they because it is co-op and it looks like there's some parts where you need to have another person there to help you along. So I do hope that for some people that they sort of have like a journey system. You remember Journey from the PS3, right?
Yeah, I remember Journey. Beautiful game.
Incredible game. And there's parts where it's co-op, but they match you up with someone you don't know, and you have to work together even though you don't know each other. So I'm kind of hoping to have a system like that where it's like, oh, if your friends aren't online, or let's be serious, if you don't have any friends on a Nintendo Switch, that they just sort of pair you up with somebody else just randomly, and you can work together to get through a particular level or a world. So that looked really cool, and they kind of mentioned that kind of briefly. They did have some gameplay video, but the first elephant in the room is they put up basically a PNG image that had the number 4 with Metroid Prime before it. And I do know that Microsoft revealed the full specs of the Scorpio and that there's now a Xbox X now. But that doesn't hold a candle to a fucking JPEG of Metroid Prime 4. sorry, Microsoft. So yeah, everybody lost their goddamn minds over that shit. And I'm just like, okay, cool. I'll wait till those are out, and if they're awesome, I will play them. But for me, the main elephant in the room for the Nintendo E3 Nintendo Direct was Mario Odyssey, and Mario Odyssey is looking to be Mario 64 levels of fucking awesome.
Yeah, I am
Uh,
actually quite interested in the new Mario game. I mean, I will never have a Switch, so there's that. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I might see if I can try and play that one because that one does look very interesting. And I mean, that series has been a favorite of mine for quite some time now.
oh yeah, yeah. Like though the memes that have come from it have been pretty funny. Like there's the whole oh if because one of the big mechanics in the game is that now you can possess other characters and objects in the game via your hats. And so the biggest questions have been if Mario possesses a Tyrannosaurus Rex and becomes Tyrannosaurus Mario, can he still ride Yoshi?
Is the
And if Mario possesses a taxi cab, not the taxi cab driver, the car itself, and becomes Super Mario Taxi, can he be an Uber for NPCs?
Can you? Do they have a mini game that's literally just Crazy Taxi?
Yeah, so it's like Yoshi and Super Mario Odyssey are the games I've been hyped for the Nintendo Directs. Also, even though people kind of poo-pooed on it, and it was announced before E3, but Pokken tournaments, you know, the Pokemon slash Tekken sort of
Mashup game. Yeah, I am interested in that.
yeah, it's coming to the Switch. I'm like a lot of people are like, oh, just another Wii U port, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, fucking hell yeah. I can't wait to play. I love Pokken Tournament. Pokken Tournament was like one of my favorite fighting games of the last generation. So if I can have it on the Switch, I am just totally happy with that. Namely because of Braxton, because Braxton is very
Of course, Braxton.
Braxton got them thighs. Well, well, it's like I played the game, so I know about it, but just that one video of just the Pokken tournament player just losing his fucking mind over the fact that Braxton just has very, very big thighs. And also the fact that recent Nintendo sponsored Pokken tournament series, the player who won the championship played as Braxton, and when he was asked why did he play as Braxton, he said, because I want her to get popular so more people draw porn of her. And Nintendo was like, okay, we're not gonna do this tournament again. If you don't know who Braxton is by now, I'm sorry for you.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, she is a Pokemon. Anyway, what else happened at E3? EA had a press conference. I can't remember anything they did. Bethesda had a press conference, and Wolfenstein 2 was announced with a 9-minute long trailer. And I think you and I watched it together.
We did watch that.
Yes, and I will say I do like the new direction that Wolfenstein 2 is going, where it's way more surreal and comedic. Namely, the big scene, the notable scenes that lead me to that are the whole that scene where BJ is in the old whiskey distillery with the old communist, and the communist is like, well, I don't trust anybody who can't drink their own liquor, so you just sit right down there and drink this. And as the second he says drink this, like BJ just like downed the entire glass of whiskey he poured. He's like, well, okay.
Like in the background, there's a dude lying on a table sniping.
Yeah, and right next to the dude sniping, there's a dude playing the clarinet. Yeah, and they get into a whole argument. It's like BJ's just like, because like BJ's like, we're gonna light a fire underneath the Americans and start a second revolution. And the old communist is like, we tried that. It fucking didn't work. It was some damn capitalists on Wall Street. And BJ's like, I didn't know you had such a yellow belly. And then BJ's like, well, I ain't raising my kids under no goddamn Nazis. And you're just like, holy shit. I will say that is a and not a lot of people are talking about it, but that's a really good motivation for a video game protagonist. It's not for some higher ideals. It's not for like a woman in particular. It's the fact that he's got kids on the way, and he doesn't want to raise them in Nazi America. And I'm just like, that's a really good motivation for a video game protagonist. It's just, yeah, I don't want to raise my kids under fucking Nazis. And the other scene is the dude. It's like his friend is killing some Nazi guard to steal his weapon. And while he's waiting for her to kill the Nazi guard, he drops acid. and proceeds to have a conversation with a cartoon chameleon.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Like, I'm loving this trend that we're getting with video games that are not taking themselves seriously.
Yeah, because I will say if there is a fault in the New Order, is that the New Order kind of takes itself a little bit too seriously. I mean, there's a lot of incredible, amazing shit. It's like there's a fucking Nazi, in the New Order, there's like a fucking Nazi moon base, and shit. But it does kind of take itself a little bit too seriously, and it looks like in the new Colossus, which is the new Wolfenstein game, it's just like, yeah, they're Nazis in America, and just fucking go kill them all. just fucking kill them. I will say
that one and Doom, the new Doom game, both. Like I'm loving the humor that we're getting this generation.
Yeah, and one very subtle thing that I do love is how in the trailer, as the camera's going into that soda jerky, outside on the street, there's those two Ku Klux Klansmen, and the one Nazi guard just walks up to them and is like, "Oh, how's it going? Have you been studying your German lately?" It's like it's like. The fucking Nazi is just treating them as like a bunch of fucking retards. It's like nobody respects the fucking Ku Klux Klan, not even the fucking Nazis. I'm like, that's a very subtle thing that I just really loved. It's like, oh, here's these idiots. Let's fucking deal with them for a second. Okay, moving on. Oh, God. Okay, so I think it kind of reached its pinnacle here at E3, and I honestly feel really sorry for the guy. But Todd Howard, who's one of the developers for Skyrim, and he's sort of been put as the face of the development team for Skyrim, and I do feel sorry for him because all of these memes have been just focused on him, and it's like. Because Bethesda's decided that they're going to just keep re-releasing Skyrim over and over and over again. And because Todd Howard is sort of the face of the development team for Skyrim, all of these memes have been made about him. So it's like, you just have this fucking developer just like developing his game, but he's being treated as just this psychotic asshole who's just like, you will buy my game for the 15th time. And it's gone so far as like people have created like a family around him where people have like edited his picture and like his stock image picture to make it look like his mom, his dad, his grandfather, his little brother. It's just like this, all this shit's just being created around him, and it's just like, and you're just like, this is just a guy that Bethesda said, hey, go promote our re-release of this game, and now everybody's treating him as like this fucking psychotic developer who's like, you will buy my game for the 15th time. It's like the memes are funny, but I'm just like, oh god, I feel so sorry for him that he has to put up with this shit. All right, going on to other developers. E3 was there. Oh shit, I'm breaking up. Oh no. Hang on. All right, hang on.
You can go ahead and keep talking. It might come back. The internet's just making you go kind of robot-y.
Yeah, internet's making me kind of wonky. So yeah, EA did some shit, and I can't remember anything from it. Activision said some stuff, and I can't remember anything. I guess Call of Duty World War II is gonna be pretty awesome because, yeah, that's a thing. Ubisoft, I guess they're doing Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
But nobody gives a shit because the people we care about are not in there.
Yeah, they elected to this time around make the game a prequel, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, so aside from Far Cry 5, nobody really gives a shit.
Yeah.
I guess that just leaves well, there was a PC gaming conference, but I can't remember anything that particularly spectacular there. Oh yeah, Undertale is coming to the PS4 and PS Vita, and it's finally getting a Japanese language translation. So that's cool. We can finally play Undertale on our PS Vitas, which I know you and I are probably the only people who own it.
I will be getting that. I'm really hoping that they go through with bringing Stardew Valley to Vita as well. Because if there were a game on the market right now that's not on Vita that I need on Vita right this second, it's Stardew Valley.
Yeah, Stardew Valley will be perfect for the Vita. And I guess that just leaves Devolver Digital. And they're I'll leave a link to it in the show notes, and I will just say, go watch Devolver Digital's E3 press conference. It is the comparison I made, I guess the comparison I made to you in bullshit is that it is very
90s cartoon, I believe is what you said. 90s Saturday
morning
cartoon.
No, it's very 4 a.m. Adult Swim.
Oh, right. That's right, yeah.
Yes, it is 4 a.m. Adult Swim, meaning it's very, very surreal. and very very frantic and very very it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride. I will say that. It's a very wild ride. So it's only 15 minutes long. So I highly recommend you go check out Devolver Digital's E3 press conference, which I am linking right now in the show notes. So I think that wraps it up for me. So you got some shit to talk about, don't you?
While you were busy focusing on all the games that are gonna come out, I've been delving right back down into a game that's been out. and that would
Oh,
be. Oh,
really,
go ahead.
really quick. I want to mention some because some people might have noticed either on YouTube or Twitter or Tumblr. Everything's all right. I'm safe. I'm safe and secure. Yes, I did spend about 60 hours on YouTube watching historical lore videos about EVE Online, and I did install it, and I did play about an hour of it. But I just want to let you all know I am safe and secure. I have uninstalled EVE Online. Don't worry. I am not. I am not. I've had the strength and fortitude to not succumb to EVE Online. Do not worry. I am fine. I will not. I will not go back into EVE Online. So, with that, go right ahead and bullshit.
Well, like I said, I've been delving into a game that's been out for a while, and that would be Elite Dangerous. So some people who follow me on various platforms may know that I did just, in fact, build a new computer. It is beautiful. I love it. It's not, it's not 100% top of the line, but it's got components in it that are better than the computer I had before. So, and it's also built using a motherboard that utilizes the LGA 2011 V3 socket. So I'm future-proofed for a while.
Yeah, to make another to go off the rails a little bit, because I know I sent you pictures of it, but holy shit, because AMD Ryzen is like the new like star child in the PC gaming sphere. AMD Ryzen's this fuck all awesome ass processor and stuff, and I'm probably gonna build my next desktop using AMD Ryzen, but I know I sent you a picture of it, but they've released sort of their new like extreme edition of
Yes.
AMD Ryzen, and that processor is about as big as your fucking hand.
Yeah, it's the size of 3 of your fingers at least together.
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Well, I've gone with like I said, I've gone with a motherboard that has 2011 V3 socket in it, so I can use the Haswell and Broadwell 6-core i7s. I went for a older gen Haswell i7, so still really really good, but not
It is the top of the line. Well, for a Haswell chip, it is like I think it is the top of the line one.
It's the best of its generation, which
Yes,
was last generation. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's still good, and the video card, I got a 1050 Ti that can be upgraded later. But for now, I'm gonna be honest. Going from a 650 with a 4-core i5 to what I have now is like a whole new world already. So
and I'll be honest here, unless you're doing like VR or 4K gaming. A 1050 Ti is
good enough. It's good enough.
It's good enough. Yeah, it's good enough.
And it's gonna remain good enough for a good long while.
Yeah, it's under $200, and as long as you're not doing VR or 4K, it's perfect. It's perfect for you.
That said, I would like to one day do VR, because, like I said, I have gotten back into Elite Dangerous, and I did a bad thing. I bought a HOTAS. And I want to talk a little bit about that because it's life-changing.
Okay, I will say that when I personally play Elite Dangerous, I play with an Xbox One controller, and that's mostly because I'm on the road a lot. I don't have the space for a HOTAS. So, I will say you're not entirely in the wrong, but yeah, buying a full blown HOTAS is kind of it's kind of you're showing your commitment. Let's just say
I am committed to Elite Dangerous. I love this game. In fact, the only reason I stopped playing Elite Dangerous was because after their second update to Engineers, the game just didn't run that well on my computer. And like previously I'd been able to play it at about 40 FPS on my old computer with all the settings at low. And that was workable, but when they did that major update and they dropped support for 32-bit systems, it just, I couldn't get it to go above like 26, 27. And I just had to put the game down because that game is really hard. Elite Dangerous is difficult. Like combat is difficult. So, when you can't run the game at a reasonable frame rate, no matter what the graphic settings are, I kind of had to put it down for a while. But I knew that I would be picking it back up when I got a new computer, which is why after I built this computer, I decided to also get myself a HOTAS. And the one that I got is the Cytec X52. It is not the Pro version. The Pro version, there isn't much difference between the normal and the Pro, except that on the Pro, the switches and most of the buttons are metal instead of plastic. But the difference in price I didn't feel was worth that, so I did not get that one. The reason why I actually got this one was because it was actually... there was a whole video series that a YouTuber that I follow who plays Elite Dangerous, he did on the Cytec X52. YouTuber goes by the name Chaos Wolf. He's a big Elite Dangerous player. He's actually got a group that's so big that that their influence has made him a canon character in the game. And right now they're currently working towards him being a character in Power Play, which would be amazing if they were able to do that. And I actually, one of the reasons I'm picking Elite Dangerous back up and getting really excited about it is because I do actually want to jump into his game, into his instance, and help them out with that, because it looks like a lot of fun.
I might actually do that too, because I have Elite Dangerous installed as well. I just want to ask you real quick: are you following Obsidian Ant on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah. Obsidian Ant is awesome. He does really cool update videos for Elite Dangerous.
Yes, he does.
Yes. He also, and I'm not too sure how old he is, but he sounds like a 70-year-old English documentarian.
That's actually the reason why I subscribed to him, because his videos were so relaxing to watch.
Oh yeah, he just sounds like a very upbeat, just old English gentleman. Or not English, like maybe like New Zealander, like just a very upbeat New Zealander.
Yeah, and Chaos Wolf is awesome. He's got a very kind of subdued way of talking. Has kind of a bit of an accent, by our soft, fragile American ears.
Oh god, one guy I need to talk about in the future is this dude. He does War Thunder videos. His name is Squire, and oh god, his voice is like butter. So, really quick, I just want to mention, because I know you're into the game, but you do know that you could take your Cytec X52 and you could play MechWarrior Online.
I could play MechWarrior Online, or I could never look at MechWarrior Online again.
Just like me when I was full into my fucking EVE Online high, and I actually bought a book off of Amazon for $8 that documented the lore of EVE Online from 2003 to 2009. Yes, I actually did that, and I feel ashamed for it.
But the reason why I got the Plate Stick, actually the other reason why, was because they have announced the new MechWarrior game that I am actually excited for. So that was the other reason why I wanted to get a Cytec 52, because these things do have good setup for the MechWarrior games, and I wouldn't mind seeing if it's compatible with the older MechWarrior games as well, just because those are a lot of fun and I wouldn't mind playing them again. But new one, you can bet I'm going to be playing that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. The reason I got this thing was because it's one that was sort of talked about and recommended by Chaos Wolf, who I've been watching for a very long time. And he did his video on the Cytec X52 back in 2015. So this is actually an older generation controller. There's about 2 more controllers that Cytec has made, Mad Catz Cytec has made, since this one. But if you're just looking for a controller to do some pretty standard Space Sim stuff in, right now is actually a really good time to buy one of these things because they're nice and they're cheap. Because they're the old ones.
Yeah, and Cytec, and this is just me. I've never played with a HOTAS before, but I will say for the amount of times I've heard Cytec X52 mentioned positively, I will say that, hey, this is probably a good stick to use. Because I've heard Obsidian Ant, I've heard Squirrel, I've heard Squire, I've heard so many people say good shit about the X52. So if all these people who actually use it say it's good, it's probably good.
Well, it's got. I mean, so let me talk about the controller before I go into Elite Dangerous. Let me talk about the controllers. I do like this controller a lot, but there are some important things. One, it is a cheap controller. Even when it came out, it was a moderately inexpensive controller, so it is predominantly plastic. The pictures do not betray that, but it is predominantly plastic, and that does turn a lot of people off. There is a pro version of the Cytec X52 that has metal switches, and I think metal joysticks as well. But, I mean, I don't feel that there's a justification in the increase in price there. But for what it is inexpensive and easy to get your hands on. And despite the build quality being, predominantly plastic, it still feels like it's solid enough. I think the only complaint I've really had is just that there is a physical dead zone with the joystick that you can actually feel. It's just because it's not, it's plastic. But it's got LEDs that light up fantastic. It's got an LED screen on the throttle control that shows your profile, has a clock, it also has a stopwatch, and it's very nice. And it, most importantly, comes with some really good software and has a default profile in Elite Dangerous. So when you install your Cytec 52, get all the drivers in, and install the controller software, you boot up Elite Dangerous, and it already has a profile set up for the controller that actually, I have to admit, works really well. There's some changes that I've made to it, but most of them are actually just the same changes that Chaos Wolf made. I'll link his video on the Cytec in how he sets up his controller in the show notes, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But it works really well, and it's a very comfortable thing. I think really the only complaint I have about it isn't even a complaint, it's just an observation that the controller is somewhat cheaply made, but it doesn't feel like it's going to break, it's just plastic. Anyways, on to...
yeah, you're talking about that, and I just walked away really quick to grab some more food, but I was hearing you over my headset, and you're talking about the X52 HOTAS, and I just kept remembering back to when I watched the live stream of Squirrel, and Squirrel does a lot of driving sims, like he does like a lot of the higher quality like bus simulators that are on Steam, and he also does American Truck Simulator and also European Truck Simulator, and it just reminds me of like when I went and looked at his live stream, and it should, he does like the standard live stream thing of like, here's the game, and here's all the people subscribing and donating, and then here's like the chat window, and then over here in the corner is his like his webcam showing on him, and because he's like really in the simulation, he has like every type of controller. So when I watch him on Twitch playing like American Truck Simulator, it looks like he's in like a starship, because he has like his other controllers there. while he's playing American Truck Simulator. It looks like he's in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon or some shit. It's like, God damn, man, you are fucking dedicated. Because not only does he stream American Truck Simulator, he also streams X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you know he's hardcore. You know. It's like the X-52 is pleb shit if you're in the X-Plane game. You know, that's like me playing Elite Dangerous with a fucking Xbox One.
Xbox. Now, to be fair, when I previously played Elite Dangerous before I got a HOTAS, I actually played it using a PS3 controller, jury-rigged with motion and joy to trick my computer into thinking it was an Xbox 360 controller.
I will say the best moment I ever had. Sorry, I'm shouting. I'm just pouring more wine. Sorry for shouting. It's just this wine is just simply divine. I will say the pinnacle moment of me playing Elite Dangerous is when after spending an hour docking, because because you play the tutorial as well, so you know when you have to dock at your very first station,
and the first thing you do is you blast through the station and crash to the other side.
Yeah, so it's like after like a good 30 minutes of me just like bouncing around this fucking in the inside of the station for like a fucking pinball, because the Xbox One controller isn't the best controller to use in Elite Dangerous. So after I bounced around in the station for a good 20 to 30 minutes and just luckily just like locked into the dock I was supposed to be in, I decided to go out exploring, and one of the first things I did was I warped right in the middle of a binary star
system and went straight into the sun. Yep.
Yes, I died pretty quickly, and I think that's a sign of like you like losing your virginity to Elite Dangerous is when you die. It is when you warp. It's when you warp in the middle of a binary star system.
Yeah, that was the very, very first jump I ever did. I was playing with my friend, and we had been spawned quite close to the edge of known space at the time. And by known space, I mean space that players have mapped. At this point, players have mapped one or two routes all the way across the galaxy. But I mean, there's billions of stars, so they have not mapped the entire galaxy. Let's get that right out of the way. But they have mapped routes to the other side of the galaxy, which is impressive in its own right, because that's dedication. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But we had spawned at that time. It was at the time the edge of known space, controlled space, because this was very early on in its release. And I spawned in with my friend. He figured out where I was and then came over to me, and he was like, "All right, well, let's see. We need to go and find something to do, some way to make money. Maybe we can go mining." And he was like, "Okay, well, this star system looks pretty promising. Plus, it hasn't been mapped yet. So if we go there and we find something cool, we might be like, the first people to see it. At this time we didn't, because it was early in us playing, so we didn't know about like the discovery scanners and all that stuff." He was like, "Let's just warp out here. I think you can make the jump." And so we did. And he's like, "Okay, so you're gonna pop out of hyperspace, and it's gonna pop you out right in front of the star. So the first thing you need to do is pull up and not run into the star." And I was like, "Okay, cool, that makes sense." And so we pop in, and I'm like, "Oh, damn, that star's hella far away."
Oh god! Oh, you told me this story, but keep talking. Okay. Let me just preface this by saying, if you're a fan of Kyrgyzstan, aka In a Nutshell, you know exactly what's about to happen.
And I was like, suns are supposed to be huge, and this one looks really far away. And then my heat started going up, and this whole like thing happened in the span of like 5 seconds. And my friend was like, "No, pull up," and I was like, "What?" and I
Why? It's
and
so tiny. It's
hella-
a baby star.
It's hella far away.
It's a little baby star. What can it do to me?
And I pulled up, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, first jump, unmapped system. Didn't even know this. Did not expect to find a neutron star." He was like, you weren't spawned far away from it, dude. It was just small. It's a small, dense star. You know what a neutron star is, right? And I was like, yeah, it's oh, shit. We almost died.
And you're just like, oh, I'm falling. I can't stop falling. I just keep falling. Yeah, for people who are not in the know, the smaller the star, the more dangerous it is.
Because the denser it is. It's more dense, has more mass compressed. It's the higher gravitational field, and can be hotter too, depending on what kind of star it is.
So it's like this applies to real life as well. White dwarf, brown dwarf, neutron stars, all very dangerous. Magnetars, fucking don't. Magnetars will just fucking fuck your day up. Don't get anywhere near a magnetar. Pulsars. They'll fucking kill you. Yeah, the smaller the star, the more dangerous it is. That's a simple rule of the universe.
Anyways, I just want to go over real quick some of the new features that have been put in the game since the last time I played, and maybe since the last time some of our listeners have played. The main one being Horizons and Engineers expansions have come out. Horizons and expansion, Engineers is an update to it. So that's out. There's a lot of new weapons, new technology. There's ways to craft weapons and engines and stuff now. Horizons added the ability to land on planets, and at first it didn't have a whole lot to do with it. But they've slowly added content. They're sort of in this system of adding big features and then adding the actual content for those features later. Like right now, the big new feature is multi-crew. You can ride in somebody else's ship, but right now there's not a whole lot that you can do as a multi-crew. But so they've added the feature, and they're just like the next thing they're adding is content. So they just added the feature to create a character, like a character model physically. You get to like customize their face and everything, but there isn't any content to do as that model yet. And that's kind of the business model that Elite Dangerous has run under. And considering the base game itself is only $29.99, and the expansion to Horizons is only $29.99, and you don't need to buy the expansion to play, 90% of the content that's in the game, just the stuff that exists in Engineers and on the planets.
Yeah.
It's actually quite fair. Like, I mean, I would consider it a pretty okay, test investment. Check out the game if you like it. $29.99 is not a bad price for what the base game is, considering I paid $60 for the base game.
Yeah, I paid $60 for the base game, and let me just say, for $29.99, that's a really good way to get your feet wet. Again, you could play. You could even though Mbulsht has a HOTAS, he's pretty committed to it. You can have a very excellent time in the game with an Xbox One controller.
You do not need a HOTAS. You don't.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. If you have a PS4 controller, a Xbox One controller, a 360 controller, or a PS3 controller, or whatever the fuck Logitech came out with, like the X controller they did, you will have a totally fine time, because Frontiers has probably has controller mapping for your controller.
Yeah, and they've done a very good job of making the control system quite accessible. I mean, I will say having a HOTAS makes flying easier. Now, I'm not used to the control setup quite yet, so I keep doing stupid things like accidentally jettisoning all cargo instead of retracting my landing gear. But
you're like, oh boy, I finally get to deliver this cargo of 200 slaves. Oh, there they go in front of my cockpit window.
There they go, and they're all dead. Okay.
yes. There is slavery in Elite Dangerous.
There is slavery in Elite Dangerous. If you are part of the Empire, you can trade slaves.
Yeah, just like EVE Online,
Just like EVE Online, yeah.
Though I actually, do they have prostitutes? Because you can trade prostitutes in EVE Online.
They do not have prostitution in Elite Dangerous. They should though. That would make sense.
Yeah,
It's an industry.
Because one of my tutorial missions in EVE Online before I realized that I love myself was I had to transport a prostitute.
They have a new system now for passenger missions, so where you put cargo holds on your ship, there's now a new thing you can put that are just passenger bays. And there's different classes. There's 3 different classes. There's economy bays, which are cheap. Business
coach.
class bays, which are not as cheap. And first class bays, which are fucking expensive. And you can take missions at mission hubs to transport people. And each mission requires, like, for example, there'll be a mission that's like, okay, 5 million credits, which is a lot, and some rich guy wants you to take him on a trip around like 5 different star systems. He will only ride first class, kind of thing. Or like there's other ones where it's like, 20 guys want to just see a star. They don't care what their seats are. You just get economy class seats and you shove them in there and you take them to a star and then drive back. And what's even funnier is that these people who are riding with you will make demands. So like if they're like really rich and they have the demanding trait, they'll literally just be like, I've changed my mind. I want to go somewhere else. If you don't do that, I'm going to pay you half. If you do it, I'm going to pay you double. And it's like, okay, well, I got to extend the trip time for this by an hour, but he's gonna double his pay, kind of thing. And then there's also passenger missions that you can take with like people who are wanted. So you have to make sure that like you don't get scanned by the police, so they don't find the guy on you. Or then you get trips where people are like refugees from another faction, and the other faction might come and try and kill you. So there's just a lot of really neat passenger missions that they have on in the new system, and the new inventory system for passenger base is actually really interesting because you have the different classes. They all look different and everything.
All I'm gonna say right now is that if I get back into Elite Dangerous, my main excuse for everything that goes wrong will be, well, I didn't know the jettison button was so close to the warp button. I mean, yeah, and it only happened when the richest person just suddenly demanded I go to another star that's boring as fuck. It just so happens that every time they make that demand, they just get jettisoned out in space and they just fucking die.
It's unlucky. It's very unlucky.
Yeah, it's just it's just the rules of the universe. The universe is very, very unfair, and it seems to be, especially with my ship, it seems to be particularly unfair with very rich, hoity-toity assholes.
All right, it's starting to get really hot in this room, so I'm gonna move it along to the next segment of our show so we can get rolling here, because it has not really cooled down outside my house.
Well, if you want to do your two, just like quickly, then go ahead.
Oh no, we'll do it like normal.
Okay.
So we move on to our cool shit segment, which of course is where we link 2 things each week that we think are cool. My first piece of cool shit I've completely forgotten, so I have to bring the show notes back up. Right. My first piece of cool shit is a song called Evil Ways by an artist named Blues Saraceno. Or Saraceno. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his name. A lot of you may recognize this song as one of the songs from Rebel Galaxy. The soundtrack to Rebel Galaxy has made up of a lot of music by this artist and another artist who I think was named Nick North.
Oh god, yeah, this is beautiful. This is fucking wonderful.
The reason why I'm linking this is because while this song was used for Rebel Galaxy, it was not written for Rebel Galaxy. Rebel Galaxy, this development team, actually took licensed music from a bunch of different sources and then paid for it to use it in their game. And they did it in the same way that they do licensed music for trailers. So if you're familiar with artists like Two Steps from Hell, E.S. Posthumous, or artists like Blue Star, so there are musical artists out there who just pump out tons of music that's designed to be used as trailer soundtrack music or soundtrack music for games. Blue Saraceno is one of them, and Evil Ways is the song I linked is from a compilation that he did with a bunch of other artists known as Dark Country. And there's 4 of them out currently so far. Dark Country 1, Dark Country 2, 3, 4. They're not terribly well named. But they're all the same kind of music that was found in Rebel Galaxy. Very, very like heavy Western rock and country blended with blues and metal. Very, very good music. And actually, funnily enough, a lot of the music on Rebel Galaxy is actually from the Dark Country albums. And I didn't link the actual albums that you can find them on YouTube. I'm not going to link them here, but you can find the whole albums on YouTube. You can also purchase them on Amazon, as I did. They are very good. If you like good Western country, like American trailer music, it's all that in Dark Country. It's a phenomenal compilation album, and it's become my new soundtrack for driving to work.
I will say really quick, I do love, and I guess in the past 20 years, the whole move of science fiction, especially in deep space, towards less like futuristic cyberpunk and moving more towards like country and old west,
like Firefly.
Style.
Firefly is a fine example.
Yeah, I think Firefly pioneered it. Of like, why are you going with the cyberpunk trope? Obviously this is the new west. Just like
it's the new frontier.
Just like going out into the wilds of space and just making your claim. So I am all for this. I mean, I live in South Dakota, and I will tell you, I am no fan of country music, but I think this is a perfectly fitting theme for
and
sci-fi.
It's great too, because it's become also my soundtrack for playing both Elite Dangerous and WildStar Online. Because WildStar Online there's a lot of WildStar Online that's very inspired by Firefly. So if you play on the Exiles faction, like everything's sort of like a spaghetti western.
Oh yeah, totally. All right, to speed this up, let me get into my first cool thing. My first cool thing is a YouTuber by the name of George Rockall Schmidt, and he is a British filmmaker / movie enthusiast who lives in Mexico, and he's done lots of short film series, mostly centered around like 1984 themes / like Soylent Green, like the government's here to protect you, the government's here to keep you safe, and while his short films are very like in like the zeitgeist of like conspiracy theory and stuff, when he also does videos where he goes in and he looks at particular themes in regards to certain movies. Like he's done a couple videos like on the Human Centipede and why you were so awestruck and terrified by the first Human Centipede, but why you hate the second and third movie, and why you love the original or the first remake of The Thing from 1982, and why you may not like the remake or the prequel from 2011. He does really good analytical videos on various movies, but he also, and this is what got me into him, is that he made a 12-minute long video where he completely deconstructed BuzzFeed and explained exactly why you hate BuzzFeed, but why you still click on them.
Why you keep reading them, yeah.
Even though they're complete and total garbage. And yeah, this is a guy, he's very smart. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And he just offers a very fascinating and very familiar style and viewpoint that I think a lot of people can enjoy. Again, that's George Rockall Schmidt. You can find a link to his channel right in the show notes. So, on to you.
Alright, my last piece of cool shit this week is eddb.io, also known as the Elite Dangerous Database. For anyone who is going to be picking up Elite Dangerous, for anyone who might be getting back into Elite Dangerous, or for anyone who is playing it and hasn't heard of this website, it is a fantastic website for trading and for helping you find stuff. It is a database that is updated in real time with all of the information of every star system known in the game. Information includes things like what kinds of weapons are sold at that station, what kind of ships are sold at that station, the controlling faction of that station, what things that station sells, and what things that station is willing to buy from you, like if you're trading commodities and things like that, and the prices that they sell and buy. It also has a tool that helps you find something near you. So say you're sitting in a ship and you really want to get your hands on a big Class A, size 4 Class A laser, and you don't know where to get one. You can go into this tool, put your system in where you are, and tell it to find the nearest system to you that sells that weapon and how to get there. Or not how to get there, but you can put it into your map and figure out how to get there. Or if you're looking to make a lot of really, really easy money very, very quickly, you just use the galaxy map in the game to help you find an area that does a lot of mining, and then is near a system that does a lot of industry, and then go into this database system and say, I want to travel between these two star systems. What can I buy and sell in that system, and buy in that system and sell in this system that will make me the most money? You can even put in your how much cargo space you have and how much money you have, and it will tell you exactly how much you can profit from each run. So it's a very, very, very handy tool for people playing Elite Dangerous. If you're doing trading, mining, if you're looking for equipment, or if you're just looking for a good, there's a whole system for multi-hop trade routes. So you can literally just tell it, I'm in this system, I want to jump this far, what do I buy here, and where can I go to sell it? And then it will literally spit out a chain of jumps that you can do, and it will just be like, okay, if you have this much money, then buy this here, jump there, sell it. Buy that there, jump here, sell it. And you can just make it spit out an infinite list of jumps until you either loop back around or, get to the edge of known space. So it's a very, very handy tool for people playing Elite Dangerous.
I'm clicking through here, and I'm clicking through the Systems tab, and you can actually tell a story just right from the Systems tab, because at the very top of the Systems tab is the Sol system where Earth is.
Mm-hmm.
And you click on it, and it says its current status is booming, and that makes obvious sense because that's Earth. That's where everybody's from. But you click the nearest star systems to Earth, and they're all depleted and in retreats, and they're just real shitholes. And you're like, oh, okay, we know what's going on here. Because it's Seoul is the downtown. Is the downtown. That's where everything is. That's where everything fucking awesome is. And then Alpha Centauri, Bernard Star are just the fucking shitty outskirts of Seoul. And you're just oh, humanity doesn't change.
We farmed too much there, and now there's nothing.
Yeah, and so now we have to go further and further out to get the resources we need to make Earth fucking awesome. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, if you want to tell, if you're looking to tell a story in Elite Dangerous, you don't even need to install the fucking game. You just go to this fucking website, and you can craft up your own fucking story about the dangers of capitalism and blah blah blah. So, all right, on to my final cool thing. It's a YouTube channel for another podcast by two people that I do follow and sometimes watch, and they go by the names of Jeff Holiday and the Wizard of the Cause, and they're both they're both pretty centrist, but a little, I guess, in the current politics, you could call them right wing. But yeah, they do this YouTube channel where they bring on other YouTubers and discuss, like, pseudoscience bullshit, social justice bullshit, and they interview popular YouTubers within that sphere of influence. Like they've had Blair White on, they've had Rucka Ali, they've had The Amazing Atheist, they've had Crown T, they've had of all people, they've had Lacey Green on, which was actually kind of a surprise. And yeah, it's just it's a YouTube podcast where if you were of the extremist left, you would say, oh, these fucking Nazis, it's another Nazi podcast. And for most other people, it's like, yeah, they're kind of right wing, but they're actually kind of libertarian. I think that's how most people classify them as. And it's just it's interesting. It's a podcast by two people. I really enjoy watching their videos because they don't because I talked about it before, where I kind of went on my rant about the skeptical community, and you have people like Sargon Avocad who are just like, it's like, yeah, you say you're on the left, but you're still sucking Donald Trump's dick pretty hard, and I don't know if I can really trust you with saying that you're on the left with how much you're riding his fucking dick, dude. And then you have like the Paul Joseph Watson retards and all that shit, and these guys kind of keep it in the middle, and I really appreciate that, because I think right now, and even though we don't talk about politics, but I think right now the most important position to have right now in current year is to just kind of stay in the middle, because I think that's the best way to just keep yourself fucking sane. So yeah, just check these guys out. If you're into them, cool. If you're not, that's fine either. Be your own person, make your own opinions, all that good shit. So, all right, I'm done. Have you died?
And that's it. That's it. We pressed the stop record button because we
All
still
right.
haven't figured out how to end our episodes.
All right, I'm hitting the stop record button.